Hey, Andrew here at Shot 2020 with Phil from Sig, and you've got some pew-pews all over the table in front of us.
Kidding.
What's up?
Well, I've got a little hodgepodge of things here, some that are shipping now, some that will be shipping, and I'll give you all the dates and all the pricing and all that for each gun, but it's a little bit of everything. Let's start with 320s, okay? You can't mention 320 without mentioning our most popular model, the one that everyone's talking about. It's this behemoth right here. It's a 43.5 ounce 320 XFIVE Legion. So, yeah, please. Thank you. Okay, it's kind of heavy. So,
well, I got my lifting brace on,
right,
so I'm all right.
So what this is it's
That's
practically
awesome.
It's just a 320 X5. That's what it started life out as, and it's one of our more popular models. But when we were selling these guns to, let's say, competitive shooters, a lot of the guys were putting on really good triggers, and they were changing the guide rod system so they could use 1911 springs, bring it up, down, however they wanted to, and they were adding as much weight as they could legally to it. So what we did is I was shown a way that you could actually put tungsten powder into the polymer grip module. So that grip module is polymer, it's glass and polymer.
Oh, wow.
It actually has tungsten metal in the mold. So they pour it into the plastic. When you get the plastic chips, instead of being able to pick up the box and move it, you got to get a truck and move it over because the material itself is so heavy, and it comes out weighing as much as steel, but it has the same flex as polymer. And of course, we didn't stop there. We gave it a better trigger. It's about a 3.5, 4 pound trigger, breaks really nicely, and we put a 1911 style guide rod and spring in it so you can spring it up and down. In fact, it comes with 2 springs, a 14 in the gun and a 12 in the box in case you shoot competition ammo, lighter ammo. You can adjust the gun as you want. Of course, all the other stuff, optic ready, it's awesome precision sights, adjustable, fully adjustable, comes with 3 magazines with the Henning Group base pad. It is out of the box the best bang for your buck. At $900, you're going to be able to get everything you would in a $2,000 competition gun without having to do all the work. So it's a game changer, and it is our best-selling 320 by a long shot. So couldn't be happier with that. Of course, you know, if you shoot any discipline, be it competitive, or if you just want to go to be the guy at the range with the coolest gun and shoot the best groups and have the gun that's going to recoil the least out of all of them, then that's the gun for you. And I think that's why we've sold so many. Hell, we've sold more of those than there are competition shooters on the planet. So we're pretty happy with how that's going.
Somebody told me that you're a competition shooter, but I'm not sure if I believe it.
Well, you know, I play one on TV.
I was told to mess with you about that.
I've got a little bit of experience doing it, and they let me use that experience to develop some of these products. And so far, I mean, I guess it's working. We're doing okay.
I'm not much of a competition shooter myself. I play gun games occasionally for entertainment. I'm certainly not going to place anywhere near the top of the leaderboard. And well, I did take my division one time.
Okay.
I shot Iron Man in a 3-gun, and I was the only one in that division.
Yeah.
So I was also last.
Well, you were the first, last, and bravest person in the match. But yeah, I do a little 3-gun too. But you know, my role as product manager, they let me shoot, and it's awesome because I get a chance to put the guns out there in the market, show them off, and see what else is out there that may be trend setting. So far, again, when you let a shooter do what he wants to the product, you're usually going to have stuff that you know, that is incredible. And you're probably going to see the cross rifle later, and that's another example of getting shooters' input, real shooters' input. You know, not just competitive shooters, but I mean, I was a cop for a long time, and you know, I've got that background as well. So we put a little bit of that into everything. In fact, that's where these guns come in. These are our polymer lines of pistols, and you know, we were talking about the red dot revolution. That's a big thing here at Sig Sauer this year. And what that basically means is, yeah, we've been putting red dots on guns for a long time, and we get it, but they're not as easily accessible.
I saw a piece where you guys were using your propaganda on Collier Noir.
What?
Yeah. And he was way against the red dots, as I gotta admit, I kind of am on pistols.
Yeah,
but
I get it.
He made some good points. He said that you have converted him to the red dot cult.
Right.
So I'll keep an open mind on it.
Well, I'll tell you, I will admit, and I shouldn't admit, but I will admit that I am not a huge fan of red dots on pistols either, but for much different reasons. I will not sit here and tell anyone, you or anyone out there, that putting a dot on your gun doesn't make you a better shot, because it does. It makes all the hard shots easier, and that's just the way it is. It's a less of a learning curve for new shooters, and when you learn how to use it, and you learn what you're supposed to look at and what you're supposed to focus on and what amount of dot wobble is acceptable to pull a shot off, you're going to be a better shooter. And I get that, but I was weaned on iron sights. It's my thing, and I shoot most of the divisions I shoot competitively.
You have a lot of training in nurse.
I do. But, you know, what frustrates the heck out of me is I shoot carry optics really well, like better than a lot of my other iron sight divisions. So it's very frustrating because it forces me to aim harder. But be that as it may, a lot of people like red dots. They are starting to accept them, but there's not a lot of options out there. And when a company comes out with a gun, almost every single time, it is a gun that, yeah, it's a pistol. Oh yeah, but if you want the optic ready version, you got to do this, this, and this, and you got to pay this much more. Well, we're done with that. Every 320 you see on that wall out there, with the exception of maybe one or two, is either optic ready or optic equipped. And this is no exception. And this is the version. This is the 320 XCompact. This is one of our better selling 320s. It's a great gun. It's a good carry gun. It does a little bit of everything. It's small enough to carry, but it also is controllable enough to shoot on the range all day long. And the difference between this XCompact and the XCompact that we offer without the optic is it comes with a rear sight plate assembly, like the M18 and the XFIVE Legion. So when you take the assembly off and put the red dot on, you'll notice on this gun there's no rear sight. So some people will lose the ability to co-witness with this red dot in case it goes out, or if they want that co-witnessing ability to put those sights on target with the dot. So what we did on this one was we actually dovetailed a front and rear sight into this gun and just raised them up, put X-Ray 3 suppressor height sights, so you can co-witness if you need to. So if you lose your dot, falls off, you'd have to send it back, or you just feel like shooting iron sights one day, pop that off, put your plate cover on, and bam, you got iron sights. And this gun's gonna actually is shipping now. We just started shipping it this month, and so you're gonna see these in stores, and they're gonna go for right around the same price as the Legion actually, but you know, this obviously comes with an optic. And this, of course, is the M18. This has been shipping a while. This is actually outfitted with one of our new optics, the Romeo 1 Pro, which comes standard on the gun we just showed you. And this one actually, as I probably should have mentioned, it will come standard with a 6 MOA dot, but you can get them as an accessory like this guy in a 3 or a 6, which one ever. And it also comes, as you can see, in flat dark earth for a nice
That's sexy.
look. It really is cute. And with the black shroud on it, it makes it even look cooler.
I love the two-tone.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. And the shroud is an accessory you can get as well. What's nice is if you put the shroud on this gun, it'll still co-witness. It lifts the sight up a little, but not enough to lose that co-witnessing. So it's freaking awesome. Now, moving on to something that is not quite ready to ship yet, and I don't want to go into the details because it's kind of humdrum, but we've got this guy. So we used to sell a gun called the 320 Carry TAC Ops, and what it was a 320 Carry, just regular 320 Carry, but we put a suppressor barrel on it, suppressor height fixed sights, and we gave it 4 21-round magazines, very similar to these right here. And that's pretty much the TAC Ops staple, is you're going to get 4 21-round mags. Well, since the X Carry was so well adapted to take the detachable mag well, we decided to make the X Carry TAC Ops, but we changed a few things on it, and most importantly are the sights. What these are you're not going to see these anywhere else.
Those are adjustable suppressor height sights.
They're adjustable suppressor height night sights. These are X-Ray 3 night sights. So this is actually a night sight in the back that's fully adjustable. So let's say you're shooting your TAC Ops and you get your new suppressor, or you get an old suppressor, more importantly, you throw it on the gun and
you have some POI shift.
There's probably going to be a little POI shift. And before you just had to hold off and just hope for the best. Now you can actually take a screwdriver instead of, and if you have a new can, some of the cans are actually adjustable for POI, but now with this one you can just take a screwdriver and adjust your sights up, down, however you want, and boom, you're good. You know, so you don't have to deal with holding off high right, you know, to hit the target. So this gun is going to actually be available later on in the year, probably mid to Q3, simply because it's a night sight. Things get complicated with the NRC when you start making or actually selling night sights. You know, so we are going to have to wait.
Tritium is the part that makes a hydrogen bomb a hydrogen bomb and not just an atom bomb.
You know how dangerous this is? Look, it's very dangerous. So we got to get that taken care of.
It emits beta particles, which are stopped by a few inches of air or your skin. But tritium really is the part that makes an H bomb an H bomb.
You're right.
So they don't have a sense of humor about it.
No, it is. It is regulated. However, you know, I could eat a banana and probably get more tritium than that.
Of course. Or sleep next to a human being.
Right. Of course.
Can you answer something for me?
That's a 320 lineup, but yes, I can.
So the subjective reason that I'm not into red dots on pistols is pretty much the same thing probably everybody says, is that when you press out, you're chasing that dot. So can you tell me how to not chase that dot while I'm pressing out?
Honestly, the only way...
Lots of trigger time?
I wouldn't say trigger time. Dry fire? Dry fire. The only way to really do it is to get some dry fire in. But the problem is a lot of people will dry fire. They'll stick the gun in a holster and then they'll draw the gun and
try to be fast.
And try to be fast. Instead of just forget the draw. This part, you can practice that part all day long, or this part all day long, or whatever. Start here, push out. Just do repetitive drills. And if you go to the range and do it, just do one shot repetitive drills, one shot, bam, and then drive to another target. Don't do bam and put it down. That's the big problem people do. They'll push out, they'll go boom, and they'll just forget about it. Well, you remember there's a follow through you got to deal with. There's a shot, and there's a follow up. Even if you don't shoot the second shot, you got to be ready to shoot it. So I think that's a mistake people make. But I can tell you, as an iron sight shooter who has tried to learn to do the transition between iron sights and red dots, repetition, dry fire, and accepting the fact that the dot does not have to be in the middle of the screen when it's on target. That's one of the hardest things to deal with. If you're slightly off and the dot's still on target, even if it's on the bottom left hand of the screen or the top right hand of the screen, if it's on target, it's still going to hit the target. And that's the hardest part to deal with is doing that preparation.
Because with iron sights, if your sight alignment isn't good, then you can't break that shot until you get it right.
You're right. You're right. Now I'll give you one little trick. This is really cool. If you get an XFIVE Legion, and you should, by the way, but if you get an XFIVE Legion and you put a Romeo 1 Pro on the back of it, there's a little notch in the back of the Romeo 1 Pro. You can see it right there, and well, you can see it even better.
That's
right
like a rear sight notch.
It's kind of like a rear sight, but on the XFIVE Legion, the Dawson fiber optic front sight is just tall enough to perfectly co-witness with that little notch. And when you're shooting it, when you push the gun up to find that red dot, the first thing you see is the front sight. So if you use the front sight and the optic as like use the screen of the optic as like a peep sight and start to center that front sight into that screen, you'll find the dot faster because
once the front sight starts to settle, then the dot's there.
The dot's going to follow it. So that's what cool little trick. And you see a lot of people shooting this gun with an optic, and they leave that front sight on so they can have a quick reference in the middle of the screen when they shoot. So that will help you pick up the red dot a little faster. But nothing can substitute repetition, dry fire, and when you get on the range, live fire first shot. That's very, very helpful. So that's 320 world, and we're killing it, man. The XFIVE Legion is doing well. We couldn't be happier, and when we introduce more and more red dots to the mix, I think we're going to see a lot of people who gain confidence and gain ability, and that always leads to happier customers, right? But we didn't stop there. 365 world, obviously, unless you're living under a rock, you probably know what that is, and that's been our biggest selling gun, period. But we just didn't stop at a 365. We went a little further, and we came out with the 365 X series. In this case, the XL, because when we do an X series for 320, why not do it for 365? And that's where this gun was born. This is the 365 XL. It is basically it's a 365 with a really much better grip module, or much improved grip module, flat trigger, and a rear sight plate assembly. Now what that sight plate assembly does is it allows you to mount the Romeo Zero. Now this comes standard on this model gun. We're gonna offer it with and without the Romeo Zero, but you'll notice there's a rear sight built into the housing of that optic. So you can actually, to a degree, within reasonable distances, you can still co-witness that gun even without a rear sight by using the sight in the housing and the optic. And these are gonna come standard with a 3 MOA dot for the little baby dot, 6 MOA for the bigger one. And that gun's gonna be available for around $679, and it is shipping now. And of course, as the sights ramp up, we'll ship more of them.
This is, the base on this is looks like it's almost half as thick as this.
Yep.
And that like, because it's sitting lower on the side, I don't see myself chasing the dot as much.
It's not as bad. The only detriment is the screen size. Obviously, you're looking through a smaller aperture for window, but it does a couple things. Obviously, it helps you co-witness the sight. It keeps the dot a little bit lower on it, but this dot is a lot different than the others in that it's completely adjustable for elevation and windage, and brightness adjustable. There's a power button right behind the screen on the inside, and you either hold it down to turn the power off, or every time you push it, it toggles up and down as far as brightness.
Is that right there?
Yeah, it's that little button right behind the screen. And if the more times you push it, it's got 8 different settings, and you just push it, it goes up and goes down, and it can get pretty daggone bright. And the battery lasts at least 10,000 hours. It also has the MOTAC function, so if you leave them sitting here for too long, they'll pop off. Yeah. As soon as you touch them or blow on them, they'll turn on. But really neat, and again, an optic ready or an optic equipped pistol right out of the box, and sighted in, and everything's ready to go at SIG, and you don't have to worry about cutting your slide to put an optic on it. You don't have to worry about doing anything. You just get the gun and go. And it's pretty
in the slide stipple.
So you
want me to grab onto that? Sorry, not the slide. Even the optics stipple. You want me to cock it?
You can, but you can. I see people do it all the time. They'll rack it off things, grab that. But it was honestly, that's just an aesthetic thing. It looked cool. They gave us a lot of options in there, and I said, well, why don't we just make that match the grip module? And it worked out good. It looks really cool.
Fair enough.
And yeah, that was my suggestion. Obviously, I don't run optics; that's somebody else's job. I just try to make the guns work with them better. But that gun's doing that gun's going to do real well. The XL is already doing great. We think the optic model is going to do even better because it's going to open up a new world to people who go to the range and want to shoot better and want to be more confident behind the gun.
But I'll tell you what, that water bottle is dead.
Oh, smoked it. I saw it. It was pretty impressive. Speaking of that distance, realistic gunfight distance, we did build a 365 specifically for that. And that is where this guy comes in. Now, this has been our most controversial and most talked about, and oddly enough, one of our best-selling 365s of late. And this is the 365 SAS. You've probably seen a few reviews on this that are very polarizing. Some people hate it, some people love it. But I will tell you that every time someone picks it up and every time someone aims it at something, I get the same reaction 100 out of 100 times, and it's just that. It's like, did I just see that right? It's
So
bananas.
when I heard about this site, I'm like, I expected it to be like chasing the dot, but worse.
It's
I expected
not even
to.
close to that.
There it is. No, it's
immediately and instantaneously there. Now, it may not be immediately and instantaneously perfectly aligned.
No.
But you will see green, and if you're 5 yards and in, 10, even 7 yards and in, if you see green on a man-sized threat or a human-sized threat, if you see green center mass, you're going to hit center mass. And I can attest to this as a shooter. I have gone out of the range and shot this thing, and out of the holster on first shot at close distance, I am faster every time with it. And it only took it took me maybe 4 or 5 magazines to get it out, to get that lined out. Now we disabled the magazine because it's kind of a nightmare to release the slide because it's not possible. You have to slingshot it to reload it. But it's all smooth controls on the side. We took away the front sight because, again, you don't need it. We are going to come out with probably a non-ported version pretty soon, so it'll be ported and non-ported. Right now we offer the ported version, and it does work. I mean, if you shoot hot ammo, it works really well. And that gun's been super popular.
If I can jump in.
Please.
If you're not super familiar with concealed carry guns and ported and stuff, the reason that matters is if you have to shoot from retention, ports can cause.
Yeah,
they're going to put a bunch of gas.
It doesn't feel
in your
good.
face.
I'm not going to lie, it doesn't feel good. Although when they showed me this design, that was the first thing I said. Look, some people who carry concealed, they get concerned about muzzle flash, which I debunked that when I took it down the range, turned off the lights and shot it. It didn't notice anything. And what we used to call back in the old days in competition world, super freckle, which meant if you're getting super freckles.
Super
38,
freckles.
38 super, compensated 38 supers throw a lot of crap out of the barrel, and every now and then you'd see people training with these old super compact 38 super guns, and they would do retention and they get freckles on their face. So I took this gun and I was doing retention, deep retention, all the way into here, shooting it, and it doesn't feel awesome, but it doesn't hurt you, it doesn't injure you, you can just feel the blast. Now, if you put your thumb directly over it, which I had a couple people do,
or if you had to shoot it close to your face,
if you shot it like this,
yeah.
it's not going to feel great. But I had somebody cover their thumb up on the port once and shot it. It didn't feel good, but it didn't injure him. It just burned his thumb. So yes, some people.
Your definition of injury is a little different than my definition.
Injury to me means I got to go to the hospital now. Great. I mean, but if you're in a gunfight, if you got a little burn on my face,
I'm with you.
I'm okay. They're not, hopefully, but I'll be okay. But I did address that. We did address that by we are going to offer a non-ported version, and also as an addendum to that, we had so many people that were so interested in this gun, but it's like they love me and they hate me because I've shown some guys this gun, and they said, "Well, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen," and I hate you because I'm going to go out and buy another gun now. So what we did is we addressed that by putting a non-ported version of that slide assembly on our website. So we're selling the SAS slide assembly with no port. So you can take your standard 365 slide, barrel, and guide rod assembly, throw it in your SAS slide, and have a SAS right from the factory pretty much. Obviously, they'll have standard controls on the side of them, but yeah, so we're making it accessible to everyone because I wouldn't say it's a new sighting system, but it's the first time we've used it, or anyone's really used it in a mass-produced, very popular platform. And I didn't like it at first. I'll be the first to admit it. I did not like it, and then when I got out on the range and shot it, I realized the absolute positively, it was amazing.
It feels fast.
It was so
it feels
fast,
real fast,
and it was so effective at the close distances, and I just couldn't ignore it. So I
And you know what else?
I put it in front of the slide. I was like, I think we can probably melt that down into the slide, and we did.
The reason there's no front sight, the reason that this sight is pretty neat, and the reason that these controls are all flush and all that is so that we're not snagging on clothing on the drum.
That's correct. We used to make the SAS models. We had a 938 SAS and a 239 SAS. We had a lot of SAS models, SIG anti-snag models. And basically what that used to mean is we just melted the slide, made the slide smoother and that kind of thing. And let's face it, most people, if they're carrying in a holster, there's minimal snag hazard. You can train around it, but it gave us an opportunity to do something a little different. And the fact that there's no front sight, you can pocket carry that in a good holster, a good pocket holster, and there's literally nothing to do. You can't snag on your shirt, and that's pretty much what we wanted. We knew some people were going to pocket carry this, hopefully in a good holster, and
hopefully without a pair of keys in the pocket and no holster.
We can't make any guarantees. If you know your customer, it's going to happen at some point. But
stupid is as stupid does.
It is. But I can tell you that there's no way drawing out of a pocket holster that you can snag on anything, no matter what shirt you have on. So it is pretty nice, and it lent itself well to that design. And we hadn't done a SAS in so long. I just wanted to do one there.
All right, so we saved the best for last, if you will?
I would say we definitely saved the most anticipated for last. And this is a gun that came from our customers, from you people, that when they saw the 210 target, a couple years ago we launched it here. We showed it, hey, here's a US-made 210 target. It's half the price what you've normally been paying for the German models, and people loved it. And it shot great. It was incredibly accurate. Took us a little while to get to final launch, but the first question everyone asked was, do you make it in a carry model? Can you build this for us in a carry gun? And we listened, and when we thought about it, I said, wow, that's a great idea, because 210 people are fanatical. They love that gun because it's incredibly accurate, the trigger's incredibly good, and in this case, it makes it an incredibly usable carry firearm. It's a single stack aluminum framed 4-inch 210. It's got front and rear serrations, it's got the night sights, it's got everything you want on a carry gun. Now they are G10 prototype grips. The grips are actually going to have the same texture on the side as they do on the back, so we are going to get the texture up on those. But
that's pretty aggressive.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not going to rip clothes up. And you're actually going to be able to see these guns in stores probably by mid-June of this year, and they're going to be right in the $1,300 range. So if I told you 3-4 years ago I would get you a aluminum 210 carry for $1,300, you'd call me crazy. You can go ahead and call it crazy. But
insane.
Yeah, but wait, there's more. But anyway, that's a great gun. It shoots really well. I was on the range with it a couple days ago, and we were shooting 100-yard plus targets with it, and it was a natural. It's really a cool gun. That's like I call it the gentleman's carry gun, and I think there's going to be a lot of people who would either typically carry 1911 or your 210 base, and I think it's going to do really, really well. I hope it's going to do really, really well. So
it feels real good in the hand. You can get your hand on it,
right?
It's real nice.
It's natural. It's like it's molded for your hands. Yep. But it's got everything you love about a 210 in a carry package, and we couldn't be happier with it. So I can't wait for it to come out, because I think it's going to do really well. But awesome. That's kind of an overview of everything. Obviously, there's a lot more out there on the wall, but this is kind of our newest.
Oh, you
stuff.
make other pistols too?
Yeah, we make a few others. Yeah,
wow.
So you should go out there, check it out.
I will. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for tolerating my nonsense. Thank you guys for watching. There are going to be a lot of other content, a lot of other booths. Stay tuned. And in a few minutes, we'll be covering the rifles that SIG has to offer. I love you.